Adjust my lighting. Okay, that's much better. I was trying to adjust my lighting so I could see y'all. Hey guys, how are you? It's your girl Sherry Summer Bell. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I wanted to quickly go live because there was something on my mind when I was getting ready and getting dressed. I have the cleaners are coming over in a few minutes, and while I was getting dressed and preparing for them, something came to my mind, and I really wanted to share it with you because I always believe that when God give you a download, don't sleep on it. Like, don't sleep on those download. When God give you a download, it's for somebody. Even if it's not for you, it's for somebody. Somebody need to hear it. And I've always been obedient to the calling of when God give me a download. How about you? So today we're going to talk about empowering women in finance to be able to build their audience for lasting financial success. So empowering women in finance to build their audience for lasting success. I want to share that with you because I had got a message or email, I would say, from someone, and it was like, Sherry, I see that you offer Joyful Tribe Builder Academy, and that's your main offer to your for women, ambitious women in finance. We have a group, Facebook group for ambitious women in finance, so make sure that you follow our group as well. And why is it just that offer? And I'm going to let you in on why I've always offered that one thing that has transformed my client's life, that one thing that literally impact my life, that moved me from 5-figure year to 6-figure days. Okay? So, and if it's done that for me, why would I not want to share it with anyone else, right? And not just me, but also my clients have thinking higher, believe bigger, also been profitable. I want to share that how they were able to even walk in higher vibration and create that financial confidence in their life and that certainty in their life. I want to share that with you. So I know this is going to be a blessing to someone. So as you come on, just say hello. I don't go often on YouTube, live on YouTube a lot. So I'm still getting used to going live. So bear with me. Matter of fact, I think this is my second time going live per se without it being my Monday night training. Every Monday at 7 p.m. I have a Monday night training that I do here live, but not without today's not Monday. So this is new for me. And but clearly this is why I think it's so important to be obedient. And I want to share with you what I realize, the strategy of what I realized. So somebody's going to be blessed with this in a moment. The strategy of what I realized a few years ago that has helped me and caused me to scale my time. That was the most important thing in my business throughout the years. Like, this is what has really transformed my business. um the reason why sharing this with you is because how many of you have ever thought about, you want to make more money, you want to impact more lives, but you also don't want to sacrifice time with your family. You also don't want to sacrifice soccer game with your son or volleyball game with your daughter, or you don't want to have to be in meetings all day. You want to design a business that's profitable so you can use that money to manage and multiply and to make more money. But you want to be able to make sure that it's on a time where it's conducive to your home, to your spouse. How many of you have that? Because that was me. I knew the blueprint of how to make money, but I wanted to figure out what type of blueprint is going to help me to be successful. So I came in a financial game back during COVID season. I came in there. I was at that time I was a business coach, and I was traveling to different places to speak about my favorite thing, video marketing, and how to use video marketing to generate revenue. I still do that till this day because video marketing is super powerful. And because I started my business, as most of you guys know my story, from using an iPhone, just from my iPhone 6. I just literally used my phone going live and just started teaching people about the financial issue as I was going through. And I started that, and what I was learning at the time, because no one told me this, and I wish somebody had told me. So here I am telling you. No one had People didn't tell me how money's built, like how wealth is required. And people didn't tell me how to make money. I would hear people say, "Hey, you need an offer you need something to sell. And then when you have something to sell, you need to post on social media and sell that thing." So I did what I was taught. I did. I started selling my different product and services on social media. I started selling 2K revenue attraction factor. I started selling raise your brand and business. I started selling all these different product master classes, all this stuff. And I was wondering why the revenue was I was making money, but I wasn't making money. I was making I w when I look back at my Stripe account, y'all, it was probably 8,000 or 5,000, 5,000, 5 to 8,000 for that year, the year. And what I realized quickly is the reason why I wasn't making money is because I had missed something. I had missed something in that nature. I had missed something. But I didn't know what it was. I keep hearing it. It's kind of like the thing is when you have a child and you send your child to go get something out of your room and you're saying, "Hey, go look in my room for this comb." And when they go into your room, go into the room, they're looking all around because in their mind they have the comb idea of what a comb look like, but they can't find the comb, right? You have kids like that. My son is like that. Every time I send him to go get something, in his mind, he have an idea of what it looks like. So it'll be right in front of him, and he can't really figure out what that thing is. That was what was happening with me. That was what was happening with. I had the idea like I'm missing something. There's a gap that I'm missing. I'm doing the work, right? I'm showing up. I'm going live. I'm doing the work, but what am I missing? And so when I decided to COVID hit and I couldn't travel anymore, and I've been telling people about my finances and my financial struggle and all the things I was going through and the steps that I was taking to get out of the situation I was in. When I started doing that, when I started teaching that, I said, "Okay, COVID is gone." My girlfriend introduced me to COVID is gone. COVID is here now. So my girlfriend introduced me. She been, tabbing at my shoulder about doing life insurance, just doing life insurance. And I said, "Okay, I love business coaching. I love coaching. I love consulting. I love taking somebody who was at step A and then using my formula, my system, and then watch them come to step B." Right? When you first come into my program, we have something called a 90-minute assessment. This assessment literally start from where you started versus where you are today. And I just love reviewing and going over that assessment because it just tell you how much you have grown from the time you've been working with me. And it give us both, me and my clients, both joy. So my girlfriend who's been talking to me about doing insurance, I said, "Okay, I love finance. So let me just go ahead and learn more of how insurance agents had to put themselves out there." And I didn't want that to be me. I didn't want to be chasing people down. I didn't want to be worrying about chargebacks all the time. So I had an eager to learn because I was in a situation where I need money. I need finance. I was struggling. Is COVID was present and I couldn't travel. I couldn't do anything. So I figure out like what do I do? So I remember even going to driving 2 hours because that was the only place was open for me to take my test. So I was driving 2 hours away to go take my test to when COVID hit. So that's how, and when you're passionate about doing something, you find excuses, you just go ahead and you do it. So I went and took my test. And while I'm taking my test, I'm like, "Okay, now I'm not doing business coaching as much anymore. Let me just go ahead and really go hard into this insurance thing." But here's a weird thing about that. Here's a weird thing about what I found out. Whether I was doing business coaching or whether I was doing insurance, I still had to get clients. I still had to know how to captivate my client's attention. So even though the vehicle of the industry changed, my my idea or strategy of how to get that client, that doesn't change. And I was like, wow, that was interesting. So And I'm saying that to you because sometimes you're feeling like, hey, I'm in the wrong industry. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I know sometimes you're feeling like, hey, I'm in the wrong industry. I need to get out. This industry is not for me. It's too crowded. The market is too crowded. And I want to encourage you today to just kind of take a pause, because regardless of what industry you go in, the market is always going to seem to our mind, our subconscious mind, that is overcrowded when it's really not. So in my head, I'm like, I'm running away from having to do business coaching, but really the marketing that I do to get clients in my business coaching model is the same marketing I had to do to get clients in my insurance model. So it doesn't matter where you try to run to, it is always gonna be there. You still got to get clients, you still got to solve a problem, you still got to figure out what the problem they solve. So no matter what, you still got to have a framework to help them solve that problem. So no matter what you where you're running to, if you're in business, the business all the same dynamics. You still got to solve a problem. You still got to have figure out what problem you solve, who you solve it for, and the framework you use to solve it. No matter what, those three aspects and dynamics doesn't change no matter what business you're in. So you're not really running from anything. You're back where you started. We call that spinning your wheels. So that's what we call that. So as I got in the insurance space, what I chose when I would decide to choose insurance, it was kind of like, hey, these are I use insurance was really the solution to helping me get out of some debt that I was in. So when I left my job, I kind of liquidated, I say the word liquidated, some IULs that I have. At that time, I didn't know it was IUL. I'm just like fancy now. I know all these terms. But at the time, I had liquidated some IULs, and that's what got me out of some of the debt I was in when I left my law enforcement job. So I was already familiar with something like that, and I already had friends inside who was doing it, so they were able to help me and understand it more. But I think the drawback was when I ding ding ding, the light bulb came in and says, "Hold up." The drawback was, even in insurance, even in finance, even in taxes, because I have clients who are tax professional, clients who are in the Medicare space. My clients are usually the clients that are ambitious women, and they are looking to take their credibility of what they know inside of the financial space, and they're ready to create their books. They're ready to do their master classes. They're ready to use their voice to talk about their credibility and to create that cash flow. Matter of fact, we have a master class that's coming up. We have a challenge, excuse me, a 5-day challenge is coming up. Based on when you listen to this, every month we have this challenge, and it teaches you how to do just that. So they're in the space where they know their stuff very well, but it's time for them to capitalize on the expertise that they know. And so when I got to that point, I said, okay, hold up. There's a problem here, because there is, I would call it a 3-step process, right? That has to be done when you're building when you're trying to generate money, trying to generate leads, trying to generate clients. And there's a process here, and I didn't conform well to the way the insurance process. I didn't conform well to dialing 300 calls a day, right? As a mom at that time, as a single mom, I didn't conform to that. It just didn't fit my schedule, and it got to the point where, like, I felt like there's no hope for me, because that's not how I want to do business. I didn't want to have to dial all these people, strangers that don't know me, and then I'm forcing them. Like, I feel like I'm forcing them to do something that they don't want to do. So I said it got to be another way where I can get out of that blueprint, that mythology, and find another blueprint that works for me. Because this sales stuff, or just dial days, that just didn't work for me. And it didn't work for me on a long-term basis, because you have to buy leads from a third party, and you don't know if they're A leads or B leads. So door knocking definitely didn't sit well with me at all. Not in this Florida heat at all. So that was out of the question. So if I'm not going to door knock, I'm not going to buy leads. What is there left for me to do? You're like, what is there left for me to do? And on top of that, I want a long-term plan. I wanted a plan when I came in the financial space. I wanted a plan that fits me as a mom, as a wife. I wanted a plan that I can not just get a commission out of, but I can also really use all the tools in my toolbox to start write that book. I can use all the tool in my toolbox to host that conference. I just didn't want it to start at just writing policies, right? Because after you write the policies, then you do your renewals, and that was it. So I had to figure out, how do I not put myself in a box? Because I feel sometimes financial professionals, whether you're in taxes, or whether you're insurance, or whether you're bookkeeping, I feel like we put ourselves in a box. We put ourselves in this box to say that this is where we are. Our idea is just to focus on writing a policy, and then we'll see them again next year when it's time to renew, or if they have a chargeback. So I was still at the mercy of somebody else's product. I don't have any rights to where how much the product costs. I don't have any say so on what the product do. My job is just to sell the product, even if I'm not using that particular product. So I that alone didn't sit well with me, because it doesn't sound like a long-term plan. And I had no control of how much money I made in writing the product. So I've always been like not wanting my any limits on my finance, right? Especially coming from a business coach to coming in insurance, I didn't want any limit. And I'm the one here busting my ass to sell this product, but then I don't get to determine how much money I make from this product. Each time I can just keep feeding the beast, but I don't. So that integrity didn't sit well with me. And if you understand what I'm saying, say, yes, girl, I get you. You're so right. Put that in chat. Yes, girl, I get you. You're so right. So I had to design a model that works for me, works for my time, keyword, works for it, not just commission. And I'm going to be transparent with you. There are days where my model have it to where my commission may be higher, or my coaching and consulting may be higher, or my commission may be higher and my coaching and consulting is lower, like so I didn't want just one way revenue coming into me, right? And then you can get agents, but then now you're also dealing with, and one thing with me, when I learned that when people don't have to pay for something, like when you get agents and you sign them on, if they're not paying for something, they're not invested as you like for them to be invested. I have clients who are in my coaching program, and they will show up and they will do the work. And it may not be that they do the work right now. It may not be that they do the work, but they will gather around, come to the class, come to our meetups, and then something will click and they will just start and they will just take off. And but I didn't see that in agency model. So I would determine not to do that either. Right. So I was super specific on what I needed to do. So I said to myself, what is that thing that I need to do in order to make consistent cash flow using my financial business? What is that thing? And I pull out some of my business tools, right? And I started looking at some coaches that I've invested in. I started looking at their model and what did they have? And I want to challenge you today to do the same thing. Like, what are some coaches that you admire? What do they have that making them so much money that you have not have yet? And more than likely, they took the time to build their audience. I guarantee you, they have an audience. If you're wondering what makes them different from you, why they have predictable income, they build their audience. And when they build their audience, that change the dynamic. You can sell a product all day, but if you have no one to build your audience with, that's the slow method. You may be getting money, you may be getting clients, but you have to consistently be moving people in your pipeline and building your audience, and then creating experiences for them to interact with your offer. Experience is what I mean by is like masterclass and challenges and so on. So when I figure that out, when I figure success leave clues, so when you go to a successful person and they start you start looking at different things of what they do. You look at the clues of what they did. And I started going to different people in the insurance space, like Cody Akins. I started going to people who are business coaches that I've invested in. And they all had one thing in common. They built an audience. So they will forever be able to generate leads, use their own brand to generate leads. Leads is never an issue to them. I'm thinking about this other gentleman. I can't think of his name right now. I think he'd have jumping jack taxes. He also, and some of these people are selling their branded leads. They're branded, so they're selling the leads. And I'm like, wow, this is what these people, my clients, this is what is missing in the space of finance, not just insurance, but finance, period, is they're forgetting because they don't have an audience is why they have to door knock. Is that why they have to buy other people leads that they had built their audience? So instead of taking the time, instead of doing all the things of calling strangers and it's just so in that unethical behavior because she can't remember when she even wrote the card to you. Instead of doing that, why not take the time to really put your own story out there? Why not take the time to really build a relationship? And you hear people say, but Sherry, that takes too long. Sherry, what is considered long? Because I remember, she was about to talk. I remember when I started, as I was building my audience, I was still making revenue while building the audience. So that if you're saying it's taking too long, that means that the strategy of you're not working the strategy, because your blueprint of the strategy you're using should also be making you money while you're building your audience. Should be. And here's why it's so important for financial professionals to build their audience is because number one, they'll have consistent leads. They don't have to ever worry about buying leads again. Number two, they have more options to sell, right? Instead of just worrying about, I got to sell this commission, instead of worrying, if a client come to you right now and if they don't want this specific thing, you have nothing else to offer them. So having that second thing or that second offer, that third offer within the umbrella of what you do, right? Because I always thought, okay, yeah, that was Siri. So instead of having that offer, the second thing of what you do, it's super important to, when you have your audience, you now have a platform to have conferences. You now have a platform to sell a Black Friday product to that is not even in line with insurance or taxes or bookkeeping. You see what I'm saying? So now you have someone, a built-in target audience that you can sell things to. So now the sky's the limit. And what I learned, and here's the thing that what I learned, when you learn this mythology, this is going to blow your mind. Get ready, get ready, get ready. When you learn this mythology of what I'm saying to you, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be so profitable when you follow the step-by-step process, right? And make sure I say my words right. When you follow the step-by-step process, that you're going to find that you using your credibility to create that expertise, to create different products and services for your brand, not just what a third party company want, but for your brand, that you're going to do less in the physical doing of the business. Like I haven't couldn't tell when last I wrote a policy because I've been so busy using this same mythology to grow my business. I've been so busy using this same mythology to host my last conference in July. I've been so busy using this same way, the same product, the same thing. I've been so busy doing that I hadn't had to write a policy, right? And let's be clear, I still have 3 policies that's waiting on me to write. So commission clients to write policies are still coming in, but I am so busy using my own credibility to generate revenue, opposed to having to rely on a third party or a financial company that I have no control of to grow my business. And that has been the most transformational thing for me than anything else. And when I realized, like, listen, you can't just post something on social media and said, buy this insurance product. That's not how it works. You have to take the time to build your audience, but with a strategy that also allow you to make money while you're building that audience. And so you're making money while you're building an audience, and you're still writing your policy, because you become more attractive. People are now magnetized to you, and they're coming to you, and you're more findable. So people are coming to you and say, man, I love your brand. I love your energy. I want to work with you. So now people are attracting themselves to you. Is it hard? Yes. I'm going to say yes, because why is it hard? Because anything that is worth having is hard. Right. And what I mean by hard is, it's hard because you're putting yourself out there, right? Because you're the CEO, you're the face of your business, you're the brand. Why do you think Nike and all them are using influencers to get a face for their business? So you're the face of your brand. So you're putting yourself out there. And when you putting yourself out there, here's the thing: when you have and we're not talking about building a millions of audience. That's not what we're talking about. Because you can have 200 people or 2,000 people on your email list, but it has to be the right people, right? It has to be the right target audience, the right niche specific audience for you to be able to have the ability to do this mythology. Listen, I, I get excited. I get excited when I talk about this, because that has been a missing piece. Because people think, financial professionals think that you just post on social media, you just do a reel, and all the people will come. Like, I have 11,000 people on Instagram. So having an Instagram followers does not make you rich. it does not. It does not make you rich at all. We just celebrated our 11,000 mark on Instagram. That's not what put in. I'm not about looking popular, right? It's not about looking popular. It's popular or looking profitable. I want to be profitable. So, your missing piece in your business is not knowing how to build your audience, not knowing that you should be building your audience, right? And not knowing how to build your audience. You should be building your community, your credibility, and your cash flow. And oh my gosh. And if that's something you're like, Sherry, I see why it's important now, but how do I do it? I want you to join me on my credibility to cash flow challenge. It's a 5-day challenge that teaches you how to captivate your audience attention. And after you captivate them, how you going to cultivate those relationships and then close them. And let me tell you a secret bonus before I jump off. Who's ready for the secret bonus? Put bonus in the chat. Let me tell you about the secret bonus. The secret bonus of being able to captivate, cultivate, and close those audience. Here's the bonus piece of that. The bonus piece is closing with one to many, opposed to going straight to a one-on-one call. We're talking about time and freedom. Here's another challenge that I had, right? Closing who I have to do a whole video on this. And if you put video in the chat, I'll probably do another video on this so you guys can have this. Closing, the biggest issue I have with closing is I would have a calendar filled with people on my calendar, and I would feel stuck. Like, oh my gosh, I can't get out, get out for air. I can't go outside and breathe. Like there's a call after call after call after call after call. And I'm like, I'm grateful and I'm happy that the mythology worked, but it was working too well. Like, it was working. And I've heard people complain about this all the time too. Women who are in my space, who are they're using it, building joyful tribe, building their joyfully building their audience. But again, it's time, right? So we're not chasing the revenue, because the only reason we're making using this to make money is so we can have the money to manage it, to put it somewhere for it to keep making money for us. That's the only reason that you're in business, is to make money. So you, when you have that money, you can put it somewhere so that money can keep making you money. I'm dropping so much gem in this short video. But so when I get to that point, I was like, oh my gosh, another call. So I started teaching my clients inside of my credibility cash flow challenge how to close one to many. So you're one person saying the information one time to many people. Oh my gosh. Listen, if you haven't already, link below, join the credibility to cash flow challenge. You'll be so glad you did. Last thing, I am not, it's a free challenge, but baby, you deserve an upgrade. Let's go ahead and upgrade you to $47 VIP, because VIP, you get to speak with me. VIP, you get a private link. You get a private link with your VIP, and you also get along with that, you get, along with your private link, you also get to come in 1 hour early for $47 for 5 days straight. And then we have, oh my gosh, everyone who has took the challenge, like, listen, $47 VIP, that's where it's at. So make sure you grab the challenge. You can go to credibility to cashflowchallenge.com, and I'll see you on the challenge. I cannot wait. So even if you don't go to the challenge, I want you to walk away with this. Learn how to build your audience, and you will never have to worry about money again. That's the financial confidence. Talk to you later.